the foundation that President Tinubu is laying today is going to yield. It will become a bulwark against economic sabotage and saboteurs. And then the building blocks will start to show in due course. Now, don't forget that every government policy has a gestation period, minimum of 2 years, before the results begin to manifest. And in this instance, it's not even up to 2 years before we started seeing the result. Right now, the economic indices are changing. Why do you think international organizations and financial institutions are hailing the economic policies of this government? Because they know it, that without blocking these leakages and plugging the loopholes, you can't make a headway. You can't create a solid foundation. That's what President Tinubu is doing. And I keep telling people that it's really, I am not faced by the various manifestation of discontent and opposition, the strident noise of the opposition, because that's the job of the opposition anyway. But I keep telling people that this man has done it before. And I wasn't told the story. I was part of it. I was there when he took the economy of Lagos State from 600 million naira a month and laid the mechanism for upsurge in the revenue of Lagos, which is still being implemented till today. And he took that economy of that state to where it is today, because it is his policies that are being followed to the letter. No governor after him has changed it or revised it, because it's working. And today, Lagos' economy is among the 5th, if not the 4th largest economy in Africa. Much larger, bigger than over 30 African countries, from a mere 600 million. How did he do it? He started by plugging the loopholes and blocking the leakages. And I was there. I was in his cabinet for the 8 years. So I knew of the conceptualization, the enunciation, the execution, and the monitoring of those policies and the efficacy. When we started in Lagos, we were being booed on the streets of Lagos because the harsh effects of the blockages and the leakages that were being plugged were being felt. And don't forget that those who are profiting and benefiting from these leakages, from this economic sabotage, will not fold their arms. They will fight back. They will sponsor opposition. And the so-called emergency human rights activists who themselves, that's a story for another day. When the push comes to shove, we are going to reveal a lot of things about these emergency activists, who themselves are part of the saboteurs. Anyway, they were up in arms in Lagos, and they were booing us on the streets of Lagos. We met Lagos with heavy heaps and mountains of refuse. Most people who came to Lagos less than 20 years ago will never know this. They will have no basis for comparison. There were highways that were not passable in Lagos then, because they were blocked by mountains of heaps and refuse. And what did we do? The man put on his thinking cap. And at some point, all of us in the cabinet, commissioners, we went out and we were shoveling refuse away, cutting away refuse from the streets of Lagos. And then I remember that he invited some of these big construction companies to give us an estimate, cost estimate of what it will amount to rid Lagos of refuse. And at that time, in 1999, they were giving us bills of 6 billion, 8 billion, 10 billion, which was unthinkable when the revenue of accruing to government itself wasn't up to 1 billion. And that was what led to the creation of the PSP, the private sector participation in refuse clearing in Lagos. It's still there till today, till tomorrow. It's still there. So people on the streets were employed to sweep the streets and cut away refuse, and they were being paid, stipends. Eventually, graduates of polytechnics and institutions started joining, and it became another avenue of employment generation. And they were cleaning the streets. And I recall, by 2002, the federal government, don't forget we were in opposition then. PDP was in charge of federal government. We were AD, and the fulcrum of the opposition. The federal government itself conducted a nationwide survey on cleanliness among the states. Lagos State came first. I was the one that represented the governor, this president then, he was governor, at the Transcorp Hilton to receive the plaque from the then Federal Minister of Works, the late Aneni, who presented it. And we were in opposition. You think it was in their interest to give us, but they could not. That was the result, which was up. So he's done it before, and I tell people that that's what he's doing now. In another couple of months, and before the end of this term, the results of all these economic policies would have manifested such that the opposition would become weakened. Because I knew in Lagos then, by the time we were going for a second term election, those who were abusing us and shouting, "Crucify him," started shouting, "Hosanna, Hosanna." And it was a walkover, a second term election. And the second term election of President Tinubu in 2027 will be a walkover, because the results of the policies would have manifested completely, and people will now see that this man is truly the savior of Nigeria.